and the tires themselves, really most importantly, as flat as possible, so that it limits the possibility of power flowing the path of least resistance, right? It kind of keeps both sides basically even. Now, if you're telling me, hey, Brian, that's impossible, can't do it, you know, we can't go around, we have to go this way, am I out of options? No, you're not at all. There's technique stuff we can do. So, for example, again, long before lockers were really a popular thing in vehicles, off-roaders would go and do a lot of these things, and they developed a technique that kind of tricks the vehicle into behaving as if it has a locker.
Braking.
So remember, the reason power flows from one path to the other, power's lazy,
They trick the
flows
traction.
to the path of least resistance. So if I've got a driver's side tire with a lot of resistance, passenger tire with no resistance, how do I create an equal amount of resistance between the driver and the passenger while sitting inside the vehicle? I can simply apply the brake. If I apply the brake, then both sides will have resistance. Then as I'm applying the brake, I apply the accelerator. Power comes down through that drivetrain, comes to the rear differential or the front. The brakes are applied. Driver's side has resistance because of that obstacle, that terrain feature. Passenger side has resistance because I've applied the brake. The power will sort of sense, if you will, an equal amount of resistance, or roughly equal, and it will distribute power. The power will flow accordingly. That is a way to sort of trick the vehicle into behaving as if you've got a locking differential. It's called left foot braking or 2-foot driving. It's what off-roaders have done for years prior to having those locking differentials. So that's option one. Another option is, again, if we truly can't choose a different line, we're stuck, we've got to go this way. We got option one. Option two, we can use the terrain. We can stack rocks. If I've got a big hole on that passenger side, no resistance, a big elevated mound on the driver, lots of resistance, I could stack rocks. I could take a shovel and knock the driver's side down and put it into the passenger side to make that ground a little more even. It's a little more work, obviously, but I can still get through there if I truly have no other options. If the technique doesn't work, I can reshape that terrain a little bit. I can do a little work to the trail and get the ground to basically kind of even out so that it doesn't present that challenge. Now, if I have a little bit, you kind of put the caveat of worst case scenario, right, where I don't have any kind of recovery gear or anything like that to help me out. Let's say I've got some traction boards with me. I could use traction boards. I could put those traction boards down in that hole, that passenger side hole in our example, where all that power is flowing down to that side. I could put a traction board down in that hole to give myself more resistance there and utilize that. So between, the technique of left foot braking, between maybe a little trail manipulation, stacking some rocks, moving a little dirt around, or else just simply laying down some recovery gear like traction boards. If we get creative, typically we can find a way.
Great answer, thank you.
Yeah, man. All right, team, so let's go ahead and go back to 4 low. Remember, we need to put that vehicle into neutral. We do have to come to a stop and go into neutral. we get that steady orange light, be sure to put that transmission back in drive. Don't want to take our foot off the brake when it's still sitting in neutral. Does anybody need more time to go to 4 low? Copy that, let's roll.
Why is it doing that?
Doing what?
It was like, I don't know, it must be some sort of stability control on.
Alright team, we're entering a fun little area called the Enchanted Forest. Spatial awareness. This is quintessential East Coast off-roading. By that I mean tight trees, mud, rocks, big roots cutting across the trail. Take your time. We're in no rush through here. Spatial awareness, paying attention to all 6 sides, steering from the rear of the vehicle. If we got a passenger, let's leverage them and their eyes to make sure we're lined up well.
They'll leverage you.
Just like y'all did this morning, great job with that throttle modulation, meaning smooth, steady inputs with the accelerator. If we get power flowing to the path of least resistance, remember we've got those locking differentials to help us out.
Are they trying to trick us into believing we're on a different...
This is a good pace, just easing our way through here.
Still on the same one we started on.
When we have these big roots across the trail, again, control that accelerator, but be ready to control the brake.
We're on the same trail.
As you come up and over.
We didn't go there.
I have a feeling we're going to be coming down now. Maybe.
We never know how deep a mud hole is. Obviously, one way to check is to get out and put a little stick in it. We can kind of tell that way. So it's always a good idea to sort of be ready with the brake, sort of riding that brake as you drop down into the mud, because you never know how deep it may go.
My breath is like onions now. Sorry.
For the record. For anybody taking notes.
I was probably talking about farts on the last one.
There's ways to edit that out.
It's the Enchanted Forest. See, I think last time we went that way.
Did we?
I believe so. Smells nice right here.
Right here.
Yeah, that's good, Marl. I appreciate it. Just hold right there.
We'll turn to the left. arm out the window, whatever you do.
Yeah, I'm watching. Probably gotta make a wide turn,
Yeah, I had a great question back here, y'all. It's fine through a turn like this to have that rear locking differential engaged because the mud, remember that inside tire is still going to be trying to turn fast to keep up with the outside tire, but it's okay. We can get away with it because the mud will allow that tire to slip a little bit. We're not putting too much pressure, but I would not come through turns like this with that front engaged unless I absolutely had to, because again, we're just putting so much pressure into it.
We got the cheater Bronco, the short wheelbase. It's the cheat code, the off-roading.
West Coast off-roading is very much more defined by a lot more open kind of terrain. Out on the East Coast, a lot tighter. All these trees, roots, and rocks. All right, friends, keep it coming.
Put this on anymore.
So as we're starting to come in here, we've noticed we got a couple of little step down, sort of off camber areas. We're going to really control that brake as we come down. We can stay pretty much lined up in the center of the trail. We do want to cheat a little bit to the driver's side as we come down to this second one, because there's a little stump. I know most of you can't see it, but there's a little stump as you come around here that you want to pay attention to. You do not want your tire. Think about that back tire. You really don't want that back tire to be on the creek side of this little stump. So as we drop down, just nice and control with the brake. That'll all make a lot more sense as we come around the corner. There you go, Marla. A little bit to the passenger side for me. A little bit past. There you go. Beautiful. Keep that coming through nice and steady. As you come around out of that creek and making this turn, we just want to stay steady in that accelerator. Kind of hug that driver's side. Want to avoid this rock that's down directly beneath me, which you did a great job of. And just nice and steady in that accelerator. Keep it steady. Keep it steady. All right. Next Bronco coming on down, nice and easy like that. Y'all take your time. Marla, just pull up about 6 Bronco lengths. You know, make sure everybody can kind of get from where you're at forward. About 6 lengths. I appreciate you. Yep, lined up great, David. Just keep bringing that on down. great job up here, next Bronco.
There's that stump.
Oh, okay. I see. Boy, it really smells good right here. Very piney.
Eeny needle.
I didn't really see any pines.
And those up there in the lead, just once you're up there, kind of just hold where you are, and I'll get the rest of the Broncos through. We'll be up in just a second.
See a bunch of pine little
Yeah.
saplings, little tiny things. Where's that? Where's that stump at?
It's right here. Good. And there's another little stump right there.
Turn driver.